What's up, Algebra 2 students? This is lesson 66, and we're just doing the second part of that. Objective is, how do you solve a 30, 60, 90 triangles? Well, 30, 60, 90 triangles come from equilateral triangles. Remember, equilateral triangles have 3 congruent sides and 3 congruent angles, because they're regular. And each of those angles are 60 degrees. So if I were to take this triangle and cut it like this, perpendicular to that side, it cuts it so that this side is the same length as that side, and it cuts that angle so it cuts it evenly. So this is going to be 30 degrees, and that's 30 degrees. So notice it forms this triangle here that I'll highlight in red. That's a 30-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and a 90-degree angle. And these types of angles show up fairly often, and so we've put some work into studying about them. So let's just say this side length here, right here, is length x. That means from here to here is also length x, and the whole length from here to here is length 2x. If the whole length is 2x, that means this length here is 2x. This length here is 2x. So the last thing I guess we need to figure out here is this length here, that h. So let's use Pythagorean theorem to see if we could figure that out. So we're going to say x squared plus h squared is equal to 2x squared. That's going to give us x squared plus h squared is equal to 4x squareds. If I subtract an x squared from both sides, I get h squared is equal to 3x squareds. Take the square root. Technically, h would equal to the plus or minus root 3x. But since I'm talking about a length, that doesn't make sense to have a negative length. So then h is going to be x root 3. And we did that because we broke up the square root of 3 times the square root of x squared. And that just, the square root of x squared is just equal to x. And I end up writing it in front. That's why it's x root 3. So whenever we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, I'll write it this way. 30, 60, 90. The shortest side length is x. The longest side is 2x. And the middlest side, yes, I say that's a word, is going to be x root 3. So if you know one of these sides, you can find the other two, because we know that they have this relationship. So put this in your notes, maybe in your quick reference, and label it like a 30, 60, 90 triangle. 30, 60, 90 triangle. And have it easy reference as we work on these next few. Alright, so here's one. It just says find the missing side lengths. So we're missing 2 side lengths here, and it says leave your answer as radicals in simplest form. So I'm just going to draw a 30, 60, 90 triangle here. 60, 30. The shortest side is x, the longest side is 2x, and the other side is x root 3. So I notice here that this length corresponds to this length. So then, if we want, I can say 6 is equal to x. Okay, so that's that short length. So now that I know what x is equal to, I can use that to find these other two. So u is equal to that 2x, and I know what x is equal to, so u is going to equal to 2 times 6. So u is equal to 12. That's one of my answers. The other one is that v is equal to x root 3. That means v is equal to 6 root 3. And we could find a decimal approximation of that, but it says to leave it in simplest radical form. So this is going to be my other answer. So there I found v and u. Alright, let's try another one. just going to go ahead and draw this 30, 60, 90 in the same orientation as that one. And instead of calling my side length x, I'm going to use a different letter. In this case, I'm just call it like, I don't know, a. So the shortest one is a, the longest one is 2a. This other one is going to be a root 3. And the reason I used a's this time instead of an x is because this one uses x and y's, and I didn't want us to get confused with what x we're talking about. So notice we have just this one length right here of 16, and that corresponds to this one. So then I can say 16 is equal to 2a. If I want to solve for a, then I just divide by 2. And I can get a is equal to half of 16, which is 8. So notice this side length right here is going to be 8, and that corresponds to this. So I know y is equal to a, and I know what a is equal to, so y is equal to 8. Now we'll try to do this one here. I know x is equal to a root 3. That means x is equal to 8 times the square root of 3. That's my other length that I'm looking for. Alright, let's try two more. The first two, we had the shortest length and the longest length. Now we have that middlest length that has that root 3 in it. And those are probably where gets the most complicated. This one's not too bad. This one will get a little bit more interesting, but still very possible for you to be able to do. And I will make a quick note right here. Your homework is a worksheet, and these numbers correspond to the numbers off of your worksheet. So I'm actually doing 4 of your homework problems. So here we go. I'm going to draw my 30, 60, 90 triangle. Again, I'm going to use a instead of x for these because I have x's and y's. So I'll call this side length a, the longest one 2a, and this one a root 3. So notice I have this one and this one, so I know 8 square roots of 3 is equal to a root 3. I want to solve for a. A is being multiplied by the square root of 3, so I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. Notice the square roots of 3 here will reduce to 1, and likewise over here. And so I get a is equal to 8. Now let's start setting this up. This one is equal to this one, so y is equal to a. I know what a is equal to, so y is equal to 8. That's one of my answers. The other one is that x is equal to 2a. That means x is equal to 2 times 8, which means x is equal to 16. Alright, one more. I think this is probably the hardest one in your homework. That's why I put it on here. There are some other ones that have a little bit of roots in them, so they kind of look scary, but I don't think it's going to be any harder than this one, so I think you'll be able to handle it, so don't freak out or anything like that. So I'm just going to draw mine here, the shortest side, across from the 30. I can use x or a. I'll go ahead and just use a. The longest side is 2a. Middle side is a root 3. So notice this side corresponds to this one. So I'm going to say 7 is equal to a root 3. And this is where it starts getting a little bit more messy because I need to solve for that a. So I have to divide by the square root of 3. And on the right-hand side, that reduces nicely to just give me an a, but the left-hand side, it doesn't, like it did over here. So what I end up with is a is equal to 7 over the root 3. But remember, we can't have any radical parties in the basement. So we're going to multiply this by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. And I will get a is equal to 7 root 3 over 3. And that's because, thought bubble over here, square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is equal to the square root of 9, which is equal to 3. And that's why we did that, so that way we can, what we call, rationalize the denominator. So this is what a is equal to. Now let's go about finding what v and u are equal to. So let's see. V is equal to this. V is equal to a. That means v is equal to 7 root 3 over 3. And then u is equal to this. So u is equal to 2a. U is equal to 2 times 7 root 3 over 3. If you want to think of this as 2 over 1, that means u is equal to 2 times that 7 is 14 root 3 over 3. That's what u is equal to. Alright, like I said earlier, your homework is a worksheet, so make sure you grab that, and good luck.